related to the question, what will tax look like under Labour, has come this question, which is, can we get any indication as to what the answer to that question would be from looking at what tax was like under the last new Labour government that ran from 1997 till 2010, those 13 years? Can we get any indication? And if so, can we rely on it, or is it valid to make a comparison between what tax was like then and what tax might look like going forward with this Labour government? So I sort of delved into a bit of research onto that, and have discovered, broadly speaking, if you want to turn the video off after this, is that making a comparison and trying to draw conclusions from what the last Labour government did in relation to tax is probably flawed, given that the last Labour government was operating in an economic time very, very different to this. That being a time that was really posting some record post-war growth over a number of years leading up to the, remember this, global financial crisis, which was at the back end of their term of office, 2008, 2009. And of course, things went a little bit more pear-shaped following that. They were working generally up until that time with an average growth rate of around 2.5%, which of course we'd kill for now, 2.5% per annum. We also were looking at relatively low inflation. We were also looking at no massive government debt. The debt to GDP ratio in that last government time was under 40%. Unbelievable, given what we're experiencing now and have for some time, where the debt GDP ratio has been more like 100%. Okay, and we know the reasons for that. And that was because of the immense amount of borrowing that took place as a result of the pandemic, continues to be generated by the general economic position around the world, energy support. Then we've got the climate issues which need to be funded. So we're not anymore benefiting from the peace dividend, which of course the last Labour government did, and it didn't have the pandemic to deal with. It didn't have to borrow to deal with any of those issues, and there wasn't the funding that needs to be put in place for climate change, and the NHS was a lot healthier because it was reasonably well funded at a time of high growth, going to the point that the real solution to these fundamentally deep problems is to have growth. So no one would argue with that, Rachel Reeves' conclusion that we need growth rather than tinkering with tax. So making a comparison around what tax looked like last time and saying actually, and extrapolating that forward to say this is what tax could look like this time, is essentially flawed because those times are very, very different.